JN Money, from abroad to Yard, and Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Monday, the 16th day of February 2026, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on our roads, we urge you to please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle. Remember to observe the rules of the road. If you do so, then the life you save may just be your own. Today, our road should be not as busy as usual. I believe schools are out, at this point in time as well. That certainly helps to contribute to less traffic on our roads. So again, they may be less busy, but that's no reason for you not to be extremely cautious as well and to still continue to observe the rules of the road. So those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a happy belated birthday. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes from generation to generation. Coca-Cola. Still a Cayman classic. And of course, the Credit Union. Credit Union looks forward to serving the Cayman community for the next 50 years and beyond. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. And as usual, big shout out to our colleague and friend here at Radio Cayman, Mr. Joel Wilson as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, your radio station, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they rise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I have the distinct honor and pleasure of being your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Other landlines 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp number 925-3261. So first of all, let's look at the birthday shout-outs, again brought to you by Coca-Cola and the Credit Union. So first of all, we want to wish a happy belated birthday to Miss Kim Bullins, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. And you may have heard me mention before, Miss Kim Bullins is also the clerk of our Clerk of Cabinet as well. Tomorrow, Paula McField celebrating a birthday, as well as Miss MP and Deputy Speaker Perlina McGaw-Lumsden. Then on Wednesday, we see Miss Dorcas Watson will be celebrating her birthday. Miguel Martin also celebrating a birthday on Wednesday, the 13th. Samantha Widmer also celebrating a birthday on the 13th, as well as Virgil Ebanks and Andy Nicholas Blake, all celebrating birthdays on the 18th as well. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, please let us know right here and for the record. And of course, we will give them a huge birthday shout out as well. I think I have a few more here for the 18th. Biggie Irie, that must be an artiste. Sasha Whitaker also celebrating a birthday on February the 18th. Carmen Francis celebrating a birthday on the 18th as well. And yesterday, also Miss Nikita Stewart celebrating a birthday yesterday as well. I got to keep checking on these. Today, Nicole Bolt celebrating a birthday. And I think this is today. Happy birthday to Stephanie McLean from Trudy, Roy, and Jewel as well. Happy birthday to Stephanie McLean coming from Trudy, Roy, and Jewel. Just looking for any more. Make sure I don't miss any. So that's basically it. So, folks, this morning we have two esteemed persons in our studio, and we will be joined by another as well. These two in the studio, no strangers to Radio Cayman and to For the Record, and the person who will be joining us. You hear his voice calling in, and he's coined the phrase used, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Moderator, and they will be in the studio with us this morning, and we'll arrange to get the door open for him. We'll arrange that. So meanwhile, we're going to introduce the guests who are in the studio. We're going with Youth and Beauty first, and then we're going with agelessness after that, ageless persons in the studio. None other than Miss Theresa Pitcairn. Miss T, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
So thank you very much, Mr. OC, or as Steve would say, Mr. For the Record. And by the way, I'll take that. Yeah, so thank you so very much for inviting us on this morning. And it's my pleasure to have an opportunity to have a conversation with the public, the audience, folks that are on island and folks that are off island, and to have what I hope will turn out to be a useful conversation. Steve and I and Roy met last week, and we thought we had a bit of a chat. We thought through how we would want to discuss today's discussion, have a discussion this morning, and the way we landed, Roy and Steve, and I always call them affectionately by Roy and Steve, obviously. And they will look at the historical situation and where we found her, why and where we are today, coming out of globalization. And what I thought that I would do, because I've been having some moments now with my weekends, I've just been reading voraciously. So I reread things that I forgot about, like James Baldwin, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Native Son, Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison. So I've just been immersed in a lot of reading these past 3 weekends. And it actually started because my kids were in the BRAC with my husband and I was home alone. And I just said, well, gee whiz, how often do I get this opportunity? So for the last 3 weekends, that's pretty much what I've been doing and just reading. And the hope is to see where we are today and use that historic experience to add some flavor to what we're about to discuss today.
Excellent, excellent. Doc, morning, welcome back. T, this is your first time in our new studio.
That would be
right?
correct. I even went to the front door because I didn't know that there was some other entrance.
Yeah, we have a side entrance. The front portion will soon be finished now. Wrapping up things. I think they're going to be putting in a new front door, but we're going to have an excellent reception area as well. Doc, morning.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your listeners in For the Record land and those in the Cayman diaspora and those who listen to you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's good to be back. Today is an exceptional day. I am here with Dr. Pitcairn and Dr. Bodden. And, we're three Caymanians who care about our history and our culture. Mm-hmm. And but I started to think just last week and the week before, why is it that we're going to do this in February when the so-called Black History Month? But when it comes to history in Cayman, Black history or white history or blue history or whatever, history is history, and our history is about all people, about all colors in Cayman, mm-hmm. not just white history and Black history. But I understand the nuances of why they call it Black history. It's because we're on the bottom of the cultural ethos, and we are in the Caribbean, and we were brought here. We didn't come as the tired, what they say in America,
tired, huddled masses.
Masses, yes.
Masses. We were brought here mostly to make money from our work, from our strength, and from the brutality that we face, so that we were not the conquerors, we were not the colonialists, and it's the colonialists and the conquerors that write the history, mm-hmm. and so that's why our history is relegated only to 1 month of the year, but we don't mind coming here, but we say that we know our history, and we celebrate our history every day of our lives, and we experience our history every day of our lives, not like some other ethnic groups of people.
Okay, and we want to say good morning to our esteemed panelist, Mr. Roy Bodden. I want you to pull that mic a little closer to you, Mr. Bodden, and say good morning. Welcome to For the Record. We always hear you on the other end of the broadcast. Good to have you in the studio this morning, sir.
Well, it's great to be here, Mr. Moderator, as I call you, and I want to congratulate you on the new studio, man. This is the kind of place befitting of a moderator such as you. And
thank you.
I am humbled to be here this morning to christen it in company of the doc, as I call him, and our good friend Dr. Ms. Pitcairn, Theresa.
Yes.
Yeah, I call her my fourth sister. It's great to be here, and it's great to share some ideas and to hear what your listeners are saying, mm-hmm. about this experience. And I want to add to what the doc say. People like us, and especially those of us from Bodden town, which was a slave mm-hmm. capital, mm-hmm. we came here as chattel. Our ancestors came here as chattel, not much worth except for the strength they had. And so, pardon me if I say it, I consider myself in a class above those people who I call economic migrants.
Okay, with that, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we return, I'll give you a little preview about Black History Month, its observance and everything, and then we will get right into the conversation. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Marcia Emily Bodden Bush, MBE, Certificate of Honor, 1933-1997. Marcia Bodden Bush was a teacher, librarian, registrar of births and deaths for Georgetown. She was the first woman chief accountant, first woman collector of customs, and a founding member of the Currency Board. She served her country as a civil servant for 35 years, receiving the MBE for her service in 1985, as well as a Certificate of Honor for her contribution to education. She was among the first graduates of the Cayman Islands High School, receiving the Senior Cambridge Certificate in 1952. She later returned to the high school as a mathematics teacher, while also serving as librarian at the public library. Apart from her civic accomplishments, she was a talented artist and writer, and was proud to be the granddaughter of Leela E. Ross Shear, composer of the Cayman Islands National Song.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Back in '76, 7 of us came together with one vision: to help Caymanians help themselves. From 7 to over 20,000 strong, we still believe in helping members grow together.
Because when one of us succeed, we all rise.
Visit creditunion.ky to become a member today.
The Credit Union, serving Cayman for 50 years and still growing together.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Hey, new drivers. Don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or belly fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Yeah, let me tell you, no AC when I was a boy. I still remember just how good an ice cold Coca-Cola was.
The part is, the coolest moms and dads always had Coca-Cola or parties.
The sound when you pop the top and the fizzle and that after that first sip.
Coca-Cola, from generation to generation. That ice cold bubbly. Coca-Cola, still a Cayman classic.
Hey Cayman, we know you love driving, but not sitting in traffic. This Ash Wednesday, skip the bumper to bumper and take the Agriculture Show Park and Ride. Park easy, hop on, and let someone else do the driving straight to the grounds. Shuttles will run continuously from 4 locations all day. Follow Cayman Agriculture on Facebook and Instagram for all the details.
The annual Agriculture Show is hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture and is sponsored by the Department of Agriculture, Pepsi, Quality Feed, Ale Thompson's, Terra Vegetation and Maintenance, and Radio Cayman.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Roy Bodden, Dr. Theresa Pitcairn, Dr. Steve McField. So let your friends and neighbors, let everybody know who's on For the Record. Of course, we would have something on Facebook or on social media indicating the fact that they are here as well. I have one birthday shout out, and then I'm going to share with our listening and viewing audience something on Black History Month. And after that, we will have Miss Theresa lay out this morning's agenda for you in terms of the discussion. So we've been asked to send birthday greetings to Orrett McField, who will be celebrating his birthday on Wednesday the 18th. Greetings coming from his parents and his siblings. So, folks, let's look. AI-generated overview, Black History Month, is an annual observance dedicated to honoring the achievements, contributions, and central roles of Black people in history and society. Celebrated in February in the United States and Canada, and in October in the UK. It focuses on education, reflection, and recognizing the impact of Black heritage. Let me give you some of the key details about Black History Month. Its origins. It was founded by historian Carter G. Woodson in 1926 as, quote, unquote, Negro History Week. It expanded to a month-long celebration in 1970 to honor the legacy of Black people. The timing of it, in the U.S. and Canada, February was chosen to align with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln, February 12th, and Frederick Douglass, February 14th. In the UK, it's observed in October, established in 1987 to coincide with the traditional gathering of African chiefs and leaders. Its significance. It highlights the resilience, creativity, and accomplishments of Black individuals, often countering overlooked or distorted historical narratives. With that, I'm going to throw the mic over to Ms. Theresa.
Thank you so very much for that, OC, and I'll get straight to the point. So Cayman is like a laboratory where the need for economic development and foreign expertise has created a unique, high-paced, and at times precarious social environment where Caymanians are now having to navigate their own survival in their own country. As I mentioned at the start of the show, Steve, Roy, and I met last week, and we started to have conversations around how did we get here? what steps can we now take to move into the future to give the community some hope? Because whilst there are some people, as Dr. Roy mentioned at the very beginning, he's not necessarily an economic migrant, and that's not said to be in a pejorative way, but it's just the facts.
Yes.
Yeah. And, so the question is, while some of us have made it, certainly from an economic perspective, the majority of the Caymanian people haven't really benefited from that evolution. So we talked a little bit about intergenerational responsibilities, for example. What happened there? Roy was also speaking about, when we went to school, if there was a teacher that, certainly at that time, we had teachers that were Caymanians and we knew where to find the parents. The teachers could contact the parents and have a conversation about the student, how well the student is doing. That level of familiarity obviously has kind of like skittered away because of the way the community has evolved. He also, both Steve and Roy spoke about social responsibility. I remembered, I carried with me this morning the comment that you said your mom made about grief, and that there's no grief like living grief. And so the thing is, how did we get here? Let's be real. I mean, I think some of the times people are reticent about being honest and speaking the truth because folks feel that, it's a small conservative community. And that means you put your jobs at risk and you don't want to be ostracized necessarily. But I'm not sure if there's a Moses that's going to come to save the community. So my personal view is that unless Caymanians get engaged and, make their voices heard and known, we will be at the bottom of the barrel and remain there for a while, especially the way in which our community is currently evolving from an economic perspective. And I'll also say, I'm not sure how many of us have seen Ryan Coogler's Sinners. If you haven't seen that movie, it's something worth taking a look at, and looking at the way he structures it metaphorically and the role of the vampires. And that's just something to flesh out as well. And I'll just sit back and let other members take over.
Okay.
Steve, Roy.
Doc.
Well, I was just sitting here thinking, they have the audacity to talk about Black History Month. Look around the England and the United States. Those are the countries that I'm familiar with. It was our blood and sweat that made them wealthy, that made them rich. They brought us from Africa. They worked us for 300 odd years for no money. They had us separated, and they had us in such a state that we were proliferating for them. They had this slavery, the servant proliferation, where we had to multiply to get more slaves. After it became so heinous that they said, this is terrible. We can't Christianity can't take this anymore. So what they did is that they had us multiplying with our sisters and our brothers in the Caribbean and in Brazil and all of those places. And in America, the foundation of the American dollar was based off all this cheap slave labor. And even people in royalty were engaged in in selling people and buying and selling people and making money off other people. They have the audacity to now to talk about the Negro month and so forth. That's the reason why I don't have much patience with those kind of people anymore. And to me, it's a great insult. And as Theresa, as Dr. Pitcairn was saying, and Dr. Roy was saying, the reason why we are more enlightened today is because we reading, we know the history. The history, one good thing the white people did, they wrote things down I guess they wrote it down so that they could sit back and read what they did and admire some of the things they did. That's the reason why they don't want to pay reparation today, because they said, oh well, my grandfather made all the money, but I wasn't in slavery. But they know what the history is, and so a lot of Caymanians think that they are going to get educated and to get the history from YouTube. You're not going to get it from YouTube. You got to get it from the archives. You got to get it from the source, and so that's the reason why we come on the radio, because we always go to the source to understand where we come from. We know where we come from, and we have a good idea of where we are going to.
Okay, with that, folks, we've reached the top of the hour. We're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation will continue with Doctors Theresa Pitcairn, Steve McField, and Roy Bodden. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Caymanbrac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Cayman Airways is preparing to wind down its long-running New York City route as it pivots to new markets and, quote, redeploys its fleet. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
After nearly 2 decades of flying nonstop between Grand Cayman and New York's JFK, Cayman Airways has announced the route will come to an end on the 19th of October this year. The service first launched in June 2007, and other than a pause during the COVID-19 pandemic, has steadily carried close to 500,000 passengers between the Cayman Islands and the New York metropolitan area. The airline says this decision is part of a long-term strategic approach to route planning, taken in partnership with the Cayman Islands government and the Department of Tourism. Officials regularly review market performance and national priorities to ensure the aircraft are deployed where they can deliver the greatest long-term benefit to the country. Cayman Airways President and CEO Fabian Worms calls the New York route an important chapter in the airline's history, but says ending the service will free up capacity for new routes and expanded service across the network. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
After preview screenings in Grand Cayman and Caymanbrac this weekend, pirate thriller The Bluff is headed to a global audience. Caymanian filmmaker Frankie Flowers says the movie leans into sword fights, traps, and messy close-quarters combat rather than polished fantasy action. He spoke to Ward Scott in Caymanbrac at the screening Sunday.
We're here in Caymanbrac, the home of The Bluff, where the whole story originated, where the story takes place. So it's just such a blessing and a privilege to be back at the source amongst the BRAC community and seeing friends and family and being able to share this movie with our people.
The Bluff premieres on Amazon Prime Video February 25th. It's a wrap on Cayman Arts Festival 2026. Dazzling a Cayman audience for the 4th time, selling out the Harquel Theater once again. The Miguel Vargas Flamenco Dance Theater was the 5th and final concert of this year's Arts Festival, which featured local and international performances across a wide section of genres. Since it started in 2004, the Cayman Arts Festival is one of many that K-Musica hosts annually, along with the Cayman Piano Festival, the Sonoro Chamber Music Festival, and the organization's monthly Music at the Libraries. Money raised supports K-Musica's free music lessons for local students, as well as the purchase of the instruments they use. For more information, head to CaymanArtsFestival.com. Good vibes filled the Government Administration Building Friday morning. Here's CAGTV's Travis Webster.
Love was in the air in the Caymanian Art Gallery, located at the front of the Government Administration Building for the Morning of Love mini concert. The Cayman Islands folk singers sung a few beloved classics, with vocals being enhanced by Ministry for Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, the Honorable Isaac Rankin, and member for West Bay West, Mrs. Julie Hunter. Students from the Mary Martin Primary School also performed.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Tom Dewsbury. Arab countries, including Egypt, Jordan and Qatar, have condemned Israeli plans to push forward with the registration of parts of the occupied West Bank as Israeli state land. The move will pave the way for further settlement expansion in the Palestinian territory. Indonesia says it's preparing to send 1,000 troops to Gaza for possible deployment in a proposed multinational peacekeeping force. An army spokesman said that figure would rise to 8,000 by June. Germany's foreign ministers criticised defence spending in France as insufficient. Johann Wadephul said France needed to do more to reach the agreed goal of spending 5% of GDP on security in Europe. The US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has met the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who's currently trailing in most polls ahead of elections in April. Speaking in Budapest, Mr. Rubio said President Trump was deeply committed to Mr. Orban's success. Travel's been disrupted at airports across Kenya after aviation workers began a go-slow in a dispute over pay. Flights were delayed for hours at Nairobi International Airport, one of Africa's busiest transport hubs. Almost 60 people were killed when a cyclone struck Madagascar last week. Most of the deaths were reported in the port city of Tomasin. Many people remain unaccounted for. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 77 degrees. Relative humidity is 97%. The barometric pressure 1015.3 millibars. The wind is east-southeast at 3 knots. Synopsis indicate an increase in the chance of showers expected as the day progresses due to a shear line. Instability is expected into the night, and light to gentle winds and slight seas are forecast over the Cayman area as a pressure gradient remains slack over the northwest Caribbean. Satellite imagery show patches of low-level clouds in and around the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and becoming cloudy with scattered showers by the afternoon. That's the forecast for today. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be southeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be slight with wave heights of less than 4 feet. Tonight, pretty much the same, partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers, and temperatures will fall to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast, 5 knots or less. Seas slight with wave heights of less than 4 feet as well. Today's high tide will be this morning at 9:18, low tide this afternoon at 3:26, and a high tide again tonight at 5 minutes past 9. The sun will set this evening at 6:24 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:53. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Pitcairn, where people come first.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy. Janelle? From spring break, oh wait?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Pitcairn. Good like that.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. is brought to you by The Light Room. Tired of being unwell and struggling to find the energy and vitality to live the life you desire? Come get recharged from the inside out at The Light Room. Our non-invasive, holistic energy enhancement system detoxifies and energizes the body, enabling self-healing and balance. Book online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL, 38 Pasadora Place, GT.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. Let's check in with traffic, see what's happening on our roads. Further up on Shamrock Road, flowing at a moderate pace. Further down, a different story as traffic gets steadier as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway and coming off of Bobby Thompson Way and Agnes Way. Crawlathon happening on Cool Road heading to Georgetown. Delays expected. Heading east on Cool Road, traffic is moving at a moderate pace. Downtown Georgetown on Edward Street flowing nicely, as well as into Georgetown on Shedden Road. Owen Roberts Drive, light to moderate traffic flow, as well as coming from the West Bay four-way stop. Turn our attention to Godfrey Dixon Way and Easton Avenue, flowing at a moderate pace in both directions. And on the Linford Pearson Highway, of course, traffic is steady. Coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway, traffic is moving at a moderate pace and continuing on to North Sound Road and the Industrial Park area. If you've seen accidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12 o'clock. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Start your year off right with Subway's Fresh Fit menu. 4 protein-packed subs with 20 grams or more protein, under 500 calories, and loaded with full servings of crisp veggies on hearty multi-grain bread. Try the grilled chicken and avocado, the ham and turkey stacker, the seasoned steak and avocado, or the turkey and ranch delight. Big flavor, plenty of protein, and fresh veggies in every bite. Fuel your day the Fresh Fit way. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Radio Cayman News.
2 Cuban male migrants escaped the immigration detention center at Fairbanks.
Part of the submarine cable modernization project.
Shark bites are an extremely rare occurrence.
And it also looked like you were having fun up there.
Yes.
I feel like I played my piece really well, and the vibe was just really good.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
7 days a week.
This Ash Wednesday, February 18, make plans for the 57th Annual Cayman Islands Agriculture Show. From 7 a.m. until 6 p.m., it's a full day of food, farming, culture, and community at the grounds in Lower Valley. Hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture. It's family fun with Caymanian pride and prizes to be won. Follow Cayman Agriculture on Facebook and Instagram for further details.
Craving something bold, juicy, and packed with flavor? Introducing KFC's new crispy barbecue sandwich served on a soft, buttery brioche bun. That's 100% KFC premium chicken breast, perfectly crispy, deliciously smoky with crispy onions, cheddar cheese, and barbecue sauce. Just the right amount of messy in the best way possible. Stacked with layers of bold KFC flavor, this sandwich is your new obsession. But hurry, it's only at KFC for a limited time. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today at any of the 3 KFC locations on island. KFC, finger licking good, just got bolder.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we have in the studio with us this morning doctors Roy Bodden, Theresa Pitcairn, and Steve McField. Before I throw the mic over to Miss Theresa, because she's organized all of this, so she's going to be my co-host, as well as a guest this morning in terms of moderating. I'm going to throw some people may refer to it as trivia, but it's historical trivia. So, do you know where the phrase "the real McCoy" originated? It, of course, the phrase talks about, it means genuine authenticity. It means authenticity. The real McCoy. That's the real thing. The
real thing.
But where did it come from? If you find out, send us a message right here on WhatsApp 925-3261 when you do your research to tell us where the phrase "the real McCoy" came from, and we will acknowledge you right here on For the Record. Over to you, Ms. D.
Right. So, as we were discussing during the break, I'd like to invite my brother, I know he calls me his fourth sister, to speak to the whole idea of Cayman and cultural erosion, because we've shifted from a homogenous, tightly knit community, and you're seeing the sort of tensions and polarization that one expects under these circumstances. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand it over to my good friend and brother Roy.
You know, I've been sitting here thinking of how remarkable this moment is. Remarkable because in this studio this morning, you have 4 persons who are representative of a group of people, I can even say a class of people who a half a century ago, or a little more than half a century ago, would have been written off in this society by the establishment because of the backgrounds from which we came. Not that any of us came from any kind of criminal background, but because of the blot and the significance given to skin color. We would not, if odds were taken at that time, the odds would be against us and people like us being here now in these positions of influence, because we were seen, our ancestors were seen as hewers of stone, drawers of water, washing dishes, and being nannies.
And ironing clothes.
Written off by our own brother and sister Caymanians who were of a different color. And so I was remarking too, when this whole idea of a Black History Month came several years ago, man, there were people in the society ready to tear down. How dare you talk about Black history as if it was some kind of subversive idea. And so it brings me back to this observation that the reason why we and people like us had an advantage, because now we're not so common anymore. Many young persons of color have attained education, was because we dared read and were inquisitive. You know, Theresa's talking about all these people, Richard Wright, James Baldwin, John Williams, and all these American authors. It was a rite of passage that we went through them, and then we came down to the West Indian people. Who has never read The Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon or discussed his ideas? And so we come back to 21st century Cayman. We're concerned, we the collective, Theresa, Steve, myself, Mr. Moderator, yourself, people like Dr. Frank, we're concerned because the struggle that we're in, our people really don't understand. And what has happened is that the recent comers have kind of bamboozled and manipulated and dumb us down into thinking that, hey, listen, guys, you yield your position to us. We know better. And when we try to speak up, they curse us, saying we are entitled. Well, I have permission from Theresa to say that I want to explain this, and what I'm saying is hold me responsible and nobody else. I want to address this matter of entitlement once and for all. And for all. If you're a citizen of a country and that citizenship does not bring you certain advantages over the non-citizen, then you tell me what purpose is served in you being a citizen of that country. Yeah. Because I've traveled to the United States, and I'm sure all of us around this table has. In the United States, if we're not Americans, we're nobodies. You see what Trump is doing now. We're nobodies. And so if in Cayman, a Caymanian does not command a position of influence and advantage, then that citizenship is worth nothing. Now, I'm not saying that means that a Caymanian must be entitled to any position that they're not qualified for. But I'm saying no outsider dare question me about my entitlement here. I should be questioning them about their entitlement. And so I want to say that this is a great society, and it should remain a great society, but there are those of us who are prepared to articulate the ideas that we, as a people, as a Caymanian people, as generational Caymanians, are not inferior by any means to anyone else. So that's the foundation from which I would like to lay my argument. And I want to go on to say that when you reach the level of the Doc and I in terms of years, you can't help but reflect what is going to happen when we are no longer on the scene. When there's not a Doc to come on the radio and express it as it is. When there's not a Roy Bodden to call it as he sees it. So we are concerned, and one of the things we would like to do is to prepare the next generation of Docs and Roy Boddens so that they understand the society in which they live. And in order to do that, we have to have some grasp of where we came from, our history, and to be proud of our family connections, and use the positions that we have. Use the position that we have to benefit the society and to break the generational curses. We were talking about that Friday evening. Yeah. My sister Theresa, Doc, and I. How can we break the generational curses? And so we see that, Mr. Moderator, as our objective, to set ourselves up as exemplars so that younger people, younger Caymanians can have pride and try to break the generational curse so that we don't have to suffer so much put down, so that we are competitive, because it's a global world in which we have to succeed, we have to be as good as or better than.
Or sometimes twice as good.
That's right. That's right. And so I'll stop there.
I was just thinking and before I hand the mic over to Steve, I was just thinking again of one of the characters in James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. And so this is a book that's through the eyes of a 14-year-old coming of age. And it's everything. He's having a birthday, and everything is happening in one day. So he's talking about his different aunts and uncles and the blended families, and talking about his relationship with his stepfather, not knowing who his father was. All of those things that we see emblematic in our community today. But one of the characters who was educated, and you see him looking at a library, and he's looking and he's thinking, oh my goodness, what would it mean if I had the ability to learn, to read more, to be 10 times smarter than folks that were white? Would he be saved then? And it turns out that, at the end of the book, this particular guy reaches the conclusion that no matter how smart you are, no matter how bright you are, no matter how many times you demonstrate that you're people's intellectual superior, in that society where you have no place to go, or where you're born into a community that doesn't give you the kind of aspiration to be someone, you may as well commit suicide, which is what this particular character did in this book. So I say that to say that education is important, but if you don't have a system which allows you to have a fair opportunity, where you're not built to fail, education, no matter how much you have, may not necessarily bring you the kind of value that you think that you ought to have. And without no further ado, I'll just pass that over to you, Steve.
Well, how can you have value if you don't have a history? And if you by chance lose your history? I was reading the other day about the different kinds of people who lived on this planet, and they're saying now that people are saying it's amazing how primitive people could build so many buildings, and now they start to figure out, but they were not so primitive at all. They probably were smarter than we are today, and some catastrophe came that took them away, and they had to start all over again. So we're the same. We came from a continent, and by the way, if you don't believe it, just read the social anthropology and geography and history and the origin of man, and even the Bible, and say it says that life began in the bowl of Africa. Well, if life began in the bowl of Africa, then we must have been the original people. We must have come from the original people. So we came over here. And we lost our way. We lost our language. We lost our tradition. And then what happened to us is that after a while we became British subjects. We were not even people. We were British subjects. What's a subject? And in America, they said we were, 3/4 of a man. Yeah. So here we are today, and in the 21st century, the three of us here, and people like Dr. Frank and my cousin that passed, Dr. Timothy McField, and all of those other people. The struggle that we've had to keep our genre, our history alive, to keep our movement alive, to keep our enlightenment alive, because even the books that I remember reading when I was 15 years old, I went to Jamaica with the Jamaica Jamboree, Boy Scout Jamboree, and after the camping, myself, Warren Bernard, who's past, and Trenvick Miller, and some other people, Harville Bird, and all of those people. We stayed at a Scoutmaster's house in Kingston. I think the gentleman was a sanitary inspector for Western Kingston. And I picked up this book. I have never read a book like that before. It was a book that said Marcus Garvey Speaks. And I got immersed in the books where everybody was going out to Stony Hill. I said, I didn't want to go to Stony Hill. I wanted to stay and read this book. And when I came back with the book, I was reading it, and then I started to read and figure out when he said that I am somebody, and I came from royalty too, and that I should be proud of my ancestry and so forth. And I remember discussing that with my own family, and the rebuke I got from them. I remember telling my family one time, I says, Jesus had to be black, but if he came from Africa. And they were saying that's blasphemy. You should not be saying that, son. And they push you down. And then I was reading the other day, that is part of what that is part of the suffering that you that you have to go through to be able to keep your ethnicity and to be proud of your ethnicity, because and especially if God gave you any gifts, they will ridicule you, they will put you down, and so forth. And unfortunately, we have always stood for what we believe. So here we are today in our own country where we are sort of dumbed down. We have allowed people to pull us down into this poverty that so many of us. And then I started to look around the other day, and I was thinking to myself, at one time, before we came into the 21st century, we all had our homes. We all had our plantations mostly. We all lived well. We didn't have any mortgage with the banks. We didn't have to borrow money, and we had police force with probably 9 people. Maybe one murder every 30 years, and so forth. And we were such happy people on this land where we grew up and respected one another. And all of a sudden, people come and say, but you can't do that because you are the lesser of all the peoples in the country. And then when we try to fight back, I don't mean physically. I mean when we try to say no, our civilization is just as important as your civilization. They put us down, and here we are now trying to revive our life story and trying to tell the story of our people. To me, it's an amazing feat. Perhaps what we're going through today and Cayman is one of the greatest story ever told. And I wish that someday that we would be able to just sit down and tell the story without any repercussions on our jobs, our economic systems, or for our children and everything, because that would actually free us. That would be what Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey say. We would then be free
from mental slavery.
From mental slavery.
Okay. With that, I'm going to just leave you with this quote, one of Maya Angelou's most famous lines: "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better." Mm-hmm. With that, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dawson Drive, Industrial Park.
This Ash Wednesday, February 18th, celebrate harvesting harmony at the 57th Annual Cayman Islands Agriculture Show from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Food, farming, culture, and community come together at the grounds in Lower Valley. Hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture. This one-day extravaganza is packed with Caymanian pride, family fun, and great prizes to be won. Don't miss it. Follow Cayman Agriculture on Facebook and Instagram for all of the details.
Sponsored by the Department of Agriculture, Pepsi, Quality Feed, Ale Thompson's, Terra Vegetation and Maintenance, and Radio Cayman.
Happy 50th anniversary Radio Cayman. What an enormous legacy that has been made by Radio Cayman. God bless all of the employees, past and present, that have made Radio Cayman special. So as we celebrate this 50th anniversary, as we celebrate improvements and renovations to Radio Cayman, let's be thankful for the first 50 years, and Lord willing, ingenuity willing, collaboration willing, another 50 for Radio Cayman. Happy anniversary.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, this is a special show this morning with doctors Roy Bodden, Theresa Pitcairn, and Steve McField during Black History Month, the month of February. I haven't received any responses in relation to the phrase, the real McCoy, and let me share it with you. The phrase, the real McCoy, has come to mean authenticity. Few realize that it points to Elijah McCoy, a pioneering black Canadian inventor whose engineering brilliance helped power the steam age. So, one of our listeners also said, well said, Dr. Steve McField, on your last comments as well. Over to you, Ms. T.
Right. So we wanted to kind of like thread what Steve was saying into the conversation that I'm going to invite Roy to actually pick up on. And this actually touches on his particular experience as a politician. Mm-hmm. So our population is diverse and our politics is conservative. And Steve spoke to the whole notion of the cultural silence that we have. I touched a little bit on Ryan Coogler's note in Sinners. What I should have said as well, in as much as the vampires are a sort of a metaphor for predator forces that, you know, act as agents for institutional racism, because I was also thinking of how vampires are hidden and they operate at night, much like the Ku Klux Klan. And I think, and this is only my view, having watched Sinners a couple of times now, it highlights racism and how it's often hidden and its danger because it becomes institutional racism, you call it something else. And, so people will give you an excuse saying, well, it's you personally. That's the reason why you can't get this job. They're not speaking. I should say, because another thought came to mind. My daughter was here a few weeks ago about dealing with her movie. And someone interviewed her and essentially said to her, well, this movie isn't going to be anything, and it's nothing more than some cultural issue based on the Cayman Islands. So Jazz now is accustomed to the no's and the naysayers and so on. She gets that all the time. So I was actually surprised when she came home with it, and the three of us, she and her siblings, we were sitting down, we were having a conversation about it. So I said, well, Jazz, how did that make you feel? So she said, well, that's their view. I'm now accustomed to the way in which our community, certain persons from our community behave, but that's not a reflection of the entire community, because, that's kind of like how she sees it. But she says, Mom, remember, we come from a generation of strong women. So she then took over, and she says, this is why this movie is so important, because it speaks to the role and importance of having strong women in our community, and I'd like to showcase that on the wider screen. And then she made the comment, kind of like with a side eye. She said, well, much like you, Mom, I don't pay that foolishness any mind, because I know where I'm going, I know what I want to do, and I think I know what the Caymanian people would like to see, and this is about a whole cultural explosion. So even when you have folks who come here and they have made it, and they seek to assume that they can dictate what is going to be representative of the Caymanian people, or what's a failure and what's not a failure. And the particular person didn't even have a first degree, but was in a position. So David said, my son said to Jazz, well, did she know that you're at Cambridge? And it was just one of those things. But it speaks to that whole issue that Steve was speaking of with the role of cultural silence, and what Roy speaks of in terms of entitlement. And what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, Roy, is to speak to how our level of conservatism in our political realm, how that has impacted where we are today.
Yeah, you see, I'd like to begin by saying I am most interested in what is happening now in terms of addressing our shortcomings on the labor and immigration fronts. And I was scanning the comments of one of the online media sites a few days ago and was absolutely astounded at some of the contributions of these anonymous contributors who have absolutely no respect for Cayman and Caymanians. And their comments could only come from bigoted, racist, colonialists who have no respect for the people of the society in which they live. I mean, an absolute put down. And I cringe to think that these are the people who are aspiring to seats in our parliament one of these days. And believe you me, as fair-minded as I am, I cannot be but Scrooge-like in depriving them of any opportunity in the near future to have such a privilege. One of the things I think that handcuffs our political representatives is that they don't think of themselves, comparatively speaking, as able in terms of the people from outside. And so it comes to what Harold Cruz talks about in his book, The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual, where we are content with outsiders setting our agenda. And we continue to be bamboozled by saying, well, those are the people with the money, and if they take their money and
Yes.
they go, what's going to happen to us? Well, in the first place, they're not going to take the money and go, because there are not too many places in the world that is going to give them the warm and open reception that we're giving them. And because they have money doesn't mean that we should make them lord it over us on every occasion. So what I would love to see in Cayman among us generational Caymanians, which has been the mission of those of us around this table, is to have some kind of higher self-esteem, belief in ourselves. I mean, I see people unlettered, people who are unlettered lecturing people who are lettered. And so one of the weaknesses I see in our society is that we let money and money people dictate the terms and pay absolutely no credence to those people who are trained and educated and the fault I have is that politicians too quickly surrender their places of authority and are subservient, walking behind the moneyed people. And I hear the comments. I hear the comments, how they treat our elected representatives in contempt.
Yes. You hear it all the time.
And so that's one of the things that I want to see our elected representatives play a more assertive role. And a lot of people don't like me, and I realize that. I'm a writer, and they don't read my books because they know that I write about them. I don't really care. I tell my family I'm a kind of peculiar writer, maybe even narcissistic. I enjoy my own writing.
Yes. With that, we're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Hey, new drivers. Don't just drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. To our panelists, one of our listeners has written and said, the reality is that wherever racism or colorism is rooted in the psyche of the people, we will have sad and distressing examples, such as the instance of a local man with a Scottish surname taking a train ride to Scotland to look for his ancestors rather than traveling to Africa for the same purpose.
Yep. Yep. That speaks volume.
Yes, that speaks volume. We have a caller, Miss Susan, you said? We have two callers, I believe. First caller on our landline caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. O.C. Good morning, Dr. Roy and Miss Theresa Pitcairn. Happy New Year. I didn't get to you guys. Your topic is very, very encouraging, everything. And for Dr. Roy, I hope that they got a hero plaque for you now while you live.
No, I don't want.
They got heroes. Heroes don't die. Heroes live, right? I mean, that's my opinion, you know. So if you're a hero, I mean, but you're giving us a lot of education there. And that last comment that you're talking about, the dollar, that's our ruination. We have allowed the foreigners to come in here because Miss Consuelo would say that almighty U.S. dollar is not even a Cayman dollar. It's a U.S. dollar that we chase behind, not even a Cayman dollar that has more value than their dollar. We are making them dictate to us how our country is supposed to be. They couldn't dictate their own country about how to fix theirs, but they got to come and tell us how we got to run ours. And we are so vulnerable. I heard two people talking at the hospital, a doctor and a security officer, and they were talking about getting Cayman permanent residents. And you know what their words was? The doctor told, I'm not going to call her names, the doctor told the girl to say, it's easy to get. He said Caymanians are a bunch of gullible people, and all you got to do is come up with a couple of dollars, and you can buy them out. So it said, I mean, that's how they feel about us. So imagine if that's how, and that they're just small ones. Imagine the ones that so-called got money here, how they take us for idiots. And we all play the role as slave masters, and we just follow the track. So we need to wake up out of our dream that we've been in for the last 40 years. I'll give it, maybe more, and realize that we are only destroying Caymanians. We're not destroying nobody else but Caymanians through that almighty dollar. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. We have another caller, Miss Susan, on a WhatsApp caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, WhatsApp caller. No one there? Okay. If anyone wants to respond to our last caller, and at the same time, this listener has written and said, do the panelists think that the new Immigration Act does enough to address the issues that we are discussing here?
Well, I have to be so careful about it because I work for the immigration. In a way, I work for the cabinet. I'm the chairman of the Immigration Appeals Tribunal. We hear cases every Thursday in the cabinet office, and so I have to be very careful about it. But one of the things that, one of the things that bothers me is the difficulty that we still seems to have in getting rid of undesirable people from our society. It takes such a long time, and there's so many different levels of protection that they have in Cayman versus what they have in Canada, in other United Kingdom, and United States and other places. That's one of the things that bothered me, and it seems to me that the government didn't follow what the people were saying in the public. As far as the new act is concerned, it doesn't come into effect until March, so I'll have to wait until when it comes into effect to see how it works, how workable it is, and then I will be able to come back and tell you what I think about it. But carrying on from the conversation that we had before, it seems to me that the people that we select to protect us wants us to sacrifice our comfort of comfort to accommodate other people, and that has been a way of life. That has been a term of endearment for most politicians in Cayman, as far as I know, and that is because there seems to be among the political class in our country a lack of academic vigor. And I have to admit that Cayman is a physical society. It has always been a physical society. It's not a bookish society. There were not too many houses when I was growing up that had a library that had books in it. To be a man, you had to drink a lot of alcohol, be strong, have great muscles, be able to go to Mosquito Key and row the boats and get on the ships and so forth. And then women would want you, and you were very virile and so forth. We never respected education. We never respected scholarships. And I'm not talking about a scholarship where you get some money to go away to go to a university or go to a college. I mean scholarship where you do research and you go to you do research and you write papers and you do sacrifice, and you sacrifice your soul to know the truth about things. We were never that kind of society, and as a result, I find that a lot of people that we select to protect us, when you versus those people who come from the other countries to be able to make money off us again, not like chattel slavery, but now another kind of slavery, a colonial kind of slavery, economic slavery. They're all birds. They're all two wings of the same predator bird. That's what I believe. They're all two wings of the same predator bird, and therefore that is one of the reasons why we are so afraid to be ourselves, to call people out, and to say, "Hell no, we're not going to take this anymore," because we are scared to do what we have always been done, and what we came from hard work and sacrifice. They got us to the point now where they have suppressed our organs of our organs of senses. They have taken away from us, and so those of us who try to hold on, we are the outlaws. We are the villains. We are the ones like the sheep herders, and when the cattlemen comes to the Wild West, they want the lands for the cattle and not for the sheep and not for the goats. And therefore, I wonder, as Dr. Roy said before, who is going to protect us? Who is going to protect the way that we had? Who's going to protect our ethnicity? Who's going to protect our history? Who's going to protect our way of life? What I have seen and what I read in the weekends and the newspapers and the media about all the killings and the masking and the robberies and the shootings and stuff, it doesn't look a good picture to me. It doesn't paint a pretty picture to me, and therefore that's why I'm so pessimistic. about black people in Cayman and what's going to happen to them in the future.
So I'd actually expand that, if I might, to not limited to black folks in Cayman or people of color. Although if one were to look at our genealogy, you may say that, we don't have white folks that are Caymanian, but that's a story for another day. As you rightly say, Dr. Steve, to quote Malcolm Gladwell, we're outliers in terms of how we relate to our community. But I think that that's because when challenged, we never sat back and accepted. We responded. I think that's what we share as the three of us, and OC to you as well. Mm-hmm. Whereas most Caymanians tend to accept and internalize it precisely because of what Steve has said, in that we feel we're inferior and we're not as good as. So we tend, and it appears as though we choose leadership that represents these insecurities as well. I've heard folks say to me that, they've been in rooms where there are people that write speeches for some of our leaders, and it's clear that the leaders themselves don't understand some of the quotations that's in those things, because if they were aware of it, they would have excluded it in this particular speech that they're delivering. But when we choose, and this is something that I wrestle with as well, because we speak of the immigration law, but when we look around, we have to make some practical decisions. For example, we know that in the workplace, it's usually populated by persons who are not necessarily Caymanians, or they're new Caymanians, and their interests appear to lie with persons like them, or people who were educated like them, and so on. So that then puts Caymanians from the very beginning in an awkward place, because they're being asked to compete with folks who are not necessarily socialized like them, even though we may have went to the same schools and so on. And I see that the time is of the essence. So I'll just leave us right there, and probably pick up on that later, and I'll pass it over to you, Roy.
Certainly. And I will segue into that. You heard Mr. Bodden talk about the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. That speech was delivered in 1712. I'm going to share an excerpt from that, because he distinctly lays out there how you treat the slave, how you treat the black man, how you play them against each other and everything. Yeah. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Join the National Gallery for the release of the Cayman Islands Biennial Catalog and the official closing party on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. All participating artists are being given a complimentary catalog, and you can also purchase one for $35. Enjoy music and light refreshments while meeting the artists and viewing the work for the final time. In international news, Savannah Guthrie has issued a plea for her 84-year-old mother's release 2 weeks after she disappeared in a suspected kidnapping, telling anyone involved that it is, quote, never too late to do the right thing. It comes as investigators analyze DNA found on a glove that they recovered. The glove is being studied and appears to match one worn by a suspect who appeared in doorbell camera footage taken the night Nancy Guthrie went missing. Authorities believe the suspect in the video kidnapped her in the early hours of February 1st. The FBI said on Sunday that investigators recovered the glove from a field near the side of the road about 2 miles from Guthrie's home in Tucson, Arizona. And new evidence in the case of a man who spent 23 years in prison for murder suggests he was framed by police. BBC Panorama says police knew the testimony of the main prosecution witness in the case of Omar Benjwit for the murder of South Korean student Jong Ok-shin was directly contradicted by CCTV evidence. A total of 13 other witnesses used to support the prosecution case have now told the BBC the police pressured them to embellish their statements or lie in court. Dorset police did not directly address the suggestion that officers had framed the suspect, but said its investigation was, quote, thorough, detailed, and very complex. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we have doctors Steve McField, Theresa Pitcairn, and Roy Bodden in the studio with us. We have several callers, but three callers. But before we go to the callers, you heard Mr. Roy Bodden speak earlier about the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. And the speech was given in 1712, and I just want to share this with you. So Willie Lynch said, "I have outlined a number of differences amongst the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes." This is what he uses against the slaves. "These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it is only there because it starts with A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair or coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. And folks, there are many of us who believe that we are still suffering from that. And that was outlined in 1712. We have three callers. Let's take the callers. We're going to ask each caller to please be as brief as possible. First caller on the landline. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to your distinguished guests.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I just I felt compelled to call this morning because I noticed recently where the ministers, to your topic about Caymanians and why we are positioned the way we are. A prime example of that is I saw a recent headline where we had some of the ministers did an opening for a restaurant, a Scottish
fish and chips.
restaurant.
Fish and chips, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, fish and chips. Nothing against the restaurant, nothing against the owners. I wish them all the success with their business. And nothing personal against the ministers. But we have our elected ministers opening a fish and chips joint when we have local Caymanian restaurants opening all the time, serving traditional Caymanian dishes. And I don't see any ministers there doing any ribbon cutting for those. But yet, in the front page of the headlines, here are our elected officials doing a ribbon cutting for a Scottish fish fry or fish and chips. That speaks volumes about the direction and what they support and what the things that they're trying to promote.
Mm-hmm.
You see them by the hotels. Oh, these are our stakeholders. All the hotels are their stakeholders. What about the people that actually work on the ground in tourism? The Caymanians, if I should say so. They are the true stakeholders, not the hotels. The hotels don't care about us or Cayman. They're only here for one reason. And we know what that is. But we have local restaurants open up who are inviting the ministers to their restaurants that are serving Caymanian food in a Caymanian setting and trying to promote things that are Caymanian. And we don't see the ministers anywhere in sight. And again, nothing personal against them. I love them. I love them. Nothing against them personally. But come on. This goes back to what Mr. Roy Bodden, Miss Theresa, and Dr. Steve were talking about. This is why we can't get nowhere. And that's why Dr. Steve is feeling pessimistic, and I don't blame him. Because if we have elected officials that are supporting everything besides Caymanians, how are we to get anywhere as a nation?
Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. We want to accommodate as many callers as we can. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. And we will give our panelists an opportunity to respond to that caller as well. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Oz. Good morning to your panel.
Good morning. Good morning.
There's something that really upset me over the weekend. That was the case where someone in somewhere down in Mary Street and the person died.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Some guy giving himself to the police station. The news is stating whatever his name is from West Bay or West End. I am so tired of hearing this thing about a West Bay resident. Why in hell name can they not say, well, his name is Tom Jones and his nationality is this, but just everything is about West Bay, West Bay. That's all they can say. Even the commissioner of police, when they had something up at the the commissioner got up and said, I think he said it was 36, shall I say, hardcore criminals. Something like 30 was Caymanians and the other 6 or 7 is from other jurisdictions. I got up and asked him, I said, you say where these Caymanians are from? Now come out the balls, tell us where the other 6 are from or were from. He reluctant they're from Jamaica and maybe this. Come on. Cayman is especially West Bay. We have 4 representatives. This is your district. The decency or the respect to the district that elected you to say, no, this is not good enough. Wherever the crime is, the person is from, you need to come forward and say where they're from. This is what's happening. Anybody can bat us up and down, round and round, and we don't have the representation or the interest to say, no, you get this story straight. All of this Cayman compass and all that about West Bay, and more West Bay. Trying to see what may happen, just trying to absolutely give West Bay more black eyes than what we deserve. And I'm not trying to say that we don't have some crime here. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying call a spade a spade. Come forward and tell us the truth. So, gentlemen, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for taking my little call.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just to say here, the police report says a 42-year-old man who resides in West Bay turned himself over to police at the Cayman Islands Detention Center that evening as well. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
Happy good morning to you and to your distinguished guests, Dr. Pitcairn, Dr. Roy, and the iconic Dr. McField.
Good morning.
I will identify myself because I have no issues in identifying myself as a generational Caymanian. My name is Richard Bernard, Senior. Mr. Bodden, I read your book, Deconstructing Development, and it's so spot on as to what is happening and how we have dropped the ball simply by putting people who does not really have our interests or our best interests at heart. And I dare say that we are no longer at the crossroads. We have crossed those crossroads because we have allowed ourselves to be misguided. But I am enlightened that we have the 3 of you generational Caymanians to help lead some of us, at least those that will listen, because we don't have a lot of people that are even persuaded by the masterminds like you are, but those of us like myself that hold you to high esteem. I do appreciate anytime you have something to say, because whatever comes out of your mouth are words of wisdom. So I will now conclude and hang up and listen to the rest of what you have to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to take a commercial break. Any other callers on hold? Ms. Susan, no callers on hold. Let's put those calls on hold for a moment so that our panelists can respond as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money Transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use a card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Doctors Roy Bodden, Theresa Pitcairn and Steve McField in the month of February, Black History Month being celebrated, and we have Miss Theresa has arranged this discussion, this panel this morning. It was something needed to come a long time ago. Couldn't get it, on the agenda. We finally have. Miss T, over to you.
So I was just threading the thoughts that were shared in the conversations just now, and I was sharing during the break that we're looking for some type of systemic community resilience. And the point that one of the gentlemen made was about politicians being involved with opening a Scottish fish, and he wasn't being negative or anything. He was just calling it as it is. And so I said to the team, well, this is nothing new. We chose who we chose, and we know that it doesn't change the average situation for the Caymanian people. So as I said at the beginning of the conversation, there are some people who have managed to gain some success, and there are others, and I think for the majority of Caymanians, based on what I see today, I am leaning towards Steve's level of pessimism. I don't want to necessarily stay as and I tell you what and again, James Baldwin, he says it doesn't make sense to be pessimistic, as a matter of fact, because he says, one, you're alive. If you're alive, you can do something about it. So that's kind of like his position. But when you think about where we are today, and Caymanians are aware that nothing has really changed, right? And how do we make certain priorities so that we extricate the Caymanian people by informing them? I mean, because, and I have to be really careful with how I share these thoughts, but if you don't know and if you don't understand, we have to make it a priority to ensure our people know and understand. It's not unlike what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore. He had to make education a priority, and education, understanding the population, but the Caymanian people must have that willingness as well. They must want to also extricate themselves from the situation. Now, we can't just always be sitting on the porch complaining and expect a Moses to come in. And it's some of the times why I am perplexed when we say things like, God take the wheel, because it presupposes again that someone else, some other, is going to take care of the responsibilities that we have for ourselves. So I don't know how Roy and Steve feel about that, but, I'm throwing those thoughts out there.
Well, I want to talk about the elephant in the room, because that should be an obvious sight. And I want to preface what I'm saying with the doctor, he's pessimistic. I've been pessimistic. And it shows. What I'm concerned about is that there is a necessity for a Moses man, an honest broker, someone who is capable of uplifting our people. And it cannot come from the political class, because they are not in a position, they are not in a neutral position to deliver what has to be delivered. We need someone who has a genuine skin in the game, who has what in the heyday of the Black Power movement, what the Black Panthers talk about, soul in the system to uplift our people. Let me tell you how I see it. All of these crimes are being perpetrated by people who are ill-equipped. They're crying out for the society because they're left behind. We are preying upon each other. Not that there should be any crime. No one should be preying on anyone. But look at 4 o'clock in the morning. What are these people doing out? A gang of people. What are they doing out? And so we're mesmerized. So we have all these women from outside the culture of the region, entertainment, a distraction. And that's a palliative to some of the people who look for liquor, sex, and all that kind of stuff. And you're telling me, I want to say this without fear of successful contribution. Whoever believes that there's not prostitution in this society are naive. They're like blind Bartimaeus. I mean, it's everywhere. Nothing is being done about it. Nothing is being done to mentally uplift our people. It's as if a certain element should be written off. I am telling you that I cannot feel good as a society that touts itself in the 21st century as a prosperous country, seeing what I'm seeing. The family is at risk. That's what I say in my book. We need to be educating fathers to be responsible. We need to be inculcating young men. We need role models for young men that they can gravitate towards, and young women too. Instead, we're only I read the stories, man. We're only focusing on, well, this Bitcoin, this tax break, this beneficial ownership. Ultimately, the society is going to be judged on the mental health, the social cohesion, the economic prosperity, and the feelings people have of optimism or pessimism in the society. And I'm telling you, we're measuring our progress on a faulty report card. And it cannot last. The National Assessment of Living Conditions, read that. I wonder how many people read that. These people said the conclusion, they said the society is beginning to fray at its edges. But I see no genuine attempt. Why is it that we couldn't follow the Singaporean model? Why is it that we don't have a group of eminent persons who can be unofficial advisors? Why is it that the politicians don't have proper political advisors who understand the sociology of the society advising them?
It goes back to OC's point, though, when we were talking about the Willie Lynch letters and, how Caymanians observe their own people. And it's kind of sad in that, they have the resources available, but they choose to have this otherness in terms of, who they choose to get advice from.
Okay, and this question from one of our listeners ties right into that, Ms. T. It says here, good morning, Mr. OC and your distinguished panel. I was wondering if any time throughout our history that early Caymanians felt the same way, being outnumbered by new immigrants. If there's any other time in our history that we felt this way.
No, we didn't. There was no time in our history that we were outnumbered. But believe me, there was a time in our history when we felt that we were neglected and that we were put down, the same as we are now. Remember, 1831 in the 17th, 19th century, when we were the governor of Jamaica was supposed to be the governor of Cayman. When there was no, remember, at the time there was no constitutional or political connection between the two countries. Cayman was sort of drifting there, and then people start to come. The Cubans start to come. They came off the fort. The shell came on. They started doing things in Cayman that although there was during slavery times, and there were freedmen as well. And what did the Caymanian people do? They sat down and they drafted a letter to the governor area. and they sent it by Stephen Watler Bodden, and they sent it to Jamaica. They took the boat to Black River, where they got destroyed the other day, and they took the carriage up to San Diego de la Vega to the Spanish town. And they asked for four things. They asked to form a militia, form an army to protect Cayman. They asked to give them the power to raise taxes. They asked for new magistrates, and they asked to enhance the power of the petty court. It was not called summary court; it was called the petty court to give judgments. But the governor said, I can't do that. I can give you a few more justice of the peace, but I can't magistrates, but I can't give you all those powers. And they came back. They met on the 5th of December, 1831, and they decided to form their own government. And on the 10th of December, they had the elections at Pedro St. James. The only two districts that were not represented was East End and North Side. But Bodden Town, Southwest Sound, which is South Sound, Prospect, Georgetown, and West Bay all had representatives. They had two houses of parliament, upper house and lower house. And we ran this country, Caymanians ran this country from 1831 until 1863.
Exactly.
When the British government stepped in and passed the Caymanian Act.
Yes.
And then what they had to do to save the people from being hung, as they said in America, we either hung together or we hung separately.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had to ratify everything that we had done between all of those years. And we ran this country. And they gave Jamaica the power to make law for the peace, order, and good governance of Cayman. But what did we do? Did we capitulate it? We didn't capitulate.
Nope.
We still went our own way. And three things we said that we wanted to do: to always maintain, to have the right to raise taxes, to have the right to say who come here, who go, and have the right to to say who can work in Cayman. That continued until 1962, when we left the whole colonial system in the Caribbean and became a crown colony. So, if we could do that then if we had politicians could do that then, why can't we do that today?
And going on from there, in terms of answering the writer's question, the Caymanian Protection Law of 1971, 1972
That's right.
was designed again to and help not to put us in the position that we're in. And then it started to denigrate after that. We have to go to a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos,
For 50 years, Radio Cayman has been the heartbeat of our islands, informing, connecting, and giving Cayman a voice. From breaking news to community stories, the journey continues. Radio Cayman, 50 years of excellence and still going strong.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, doctors Steve McField, Theresa Pitcairn, and Roy Bodden. One of our listeners has written and said, good morning. Great show this morning. The caller that just mentioned the opening of the Fish and Chips restaurant is, like most of us, finding it hard to accept that so many of these quote-unquote foreigners are now Caymanian. Apparently, he has lived here for over 20 years, probably has Cayman status by now. It pains my heart to hear them calling themselves Caymanian. The time has come for them to be called something else, and it is not wrong for us to think that way. Upon arrival at the airport, the Caymanian line is so long. That shows us how fast we are being outnumbered. I believe we have a caller as well, Miss Susan. Let's take the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, OC.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have one question.
You're coming in, breaking up, and you're getting a delay. You need to turn your radio down.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, caller.
I got one question for your guest, OC, and then I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
And I'm going to wait for the answer. To your guest, I need you to tell me who is responsible for what is happening in this country. All right? I'll hang up. I have the answer, but I'll hang up. I just want to hear your all opinion on exactly who is responsible for what is happening in this country. Thank you, and have a good morning.
Thank you very much, caller. You do the same as well. So we have that question, and we have the comment in relation to the fact that they feel that those persons who obtain Caymanian status should be called something else, and how the long lines at or immigration, the Caymanian line is indicative, of how we're being outnumbered.
So I can't speak, obviously, for Roy and for Steve, but I think, charity begins at home. So when we sit down and say nothing and do nothing, what is the expectation? And I'll pass it over to you, Steve.
Well, the fundamental question that he just asked is that I would say all the administrations since 1976 are responsible for what happened. And it seems to me that one of the fundamental changes happened between 1976 and 1984. And I think if Dr. Bodden would agree with me, that is when we actually break into the 21st century between 1976 and 1984, when the backs of the merchant class got broken, the political power of the merchant class got broken, and then the people who took over, we thought that they were going to do better than what the merchant class did, but they did worse, and they opened up Cayman for everyone, even though there were a lot of us who were saying Cayman is not for everyone, Cayman is not for everybody, and they said, no. Cayman is for everybody. As long as you bring the money in the suitcases, you can buy us. You can buy Cayman, and that is when Cayman went the other side.
But Steve, and again, I have to bring it back home to us, because we sat back, we said nothing, we did nothing. What is the expectation? It's almost like when you listen to folks talk about President Trump, and the way in which he is now managing the United States. folks can't say that they didn't know who he was before, you know. So I don't know what the expectation was. But for me, unless and until Caymanians have the courage, and I keep coming back to that word all the time, to get off that safe spot and don't expect that there's going to, I mean, Roy spoke of a Moses. I'm not necessarily thinking of a Moses. I'm thinking of the Caymanian people having a willingness to do something for themselves and not go around having this expectation that someone else is going to do this for them.
Well,
sorry, Roy.
This person, again, right down the lines that you're talking about, says Dr. Steve and others who are pessimistic about any radical positive change taking place in the near future have good grounds for their pessimism, understanding that changing people's behavior is near to impossible, but changing their thinking is exponentially harder. But like Wilberforce, we keep pushing forward. Mr. Bodden.
Well, I agree with the doc. It's a collective responsibility, and it happened as he said it would. It seems to me, now that the chickens are coming home to roost, that we have sacrificed our long-term objectives, which should have been placing ourselves in a position where our people had the first bite of the cherry. We sacrificed our long-term objectives for the short-term promise of a false success. And we gave in to the moneyed people, the carpetbaggers. And now we've lost it, and we can't get it back. We cannot get it back except we fortify our people, bring them up to where they understand the struggle they're up against, and where our leaders have the testicular fortitude to claw it back bit by bit by bit. And so it'll take a generation or more for us to get to the point where generational Caymanians, if there are any left at that time, will come to feel that they have real worth in the society. But I say that, you know, the Moses has to come soon, because if he doesn't come soon,
or her,
yeah,
of course. The thing is, though, you've got to start somewhere, which is why I went back to Baldwin and said, I'm alive, so you can do something, right? But we can't do anything if Caymanians continue with the posture where they sit back, they're on the porch, they're complaining, and not having a look at the way in which so many other people come here. They pool their resources together and they're building so many businesses. Caymanians continue to be that crab in the barrel, and I'm just calling it as it is, where we actually say we're in the business of being negative towards each other. And I mean, to the point that Willie Lynch made, disclosed in that letter, we have to find a way to extricate ourselves from that, right? So, go on.
There is one last frontier that we have, and we're going to lose that. That is the ability that generational Caymanians have to sit in the parliament.
Oh, yeah.
When we lose that.
That is it. That is it. Yeah. Well, my question would be, do we have any examples in modern times or even history where, other than by conquest, military conquest, you have the potential for population of people, indigenous people, to be decimated simply by their own actions or inaction in terms of allowing us to be overrun and not controlling who comes, who stays, how long they stay, who acquires citizenship or not. And my point on that is, unless we are no longer a British Overseas Territory citizen, country, or British Overseas Territory, that will never happen because we are always subservient to others, at least from a legal and constitutional standpoint.
Well, that speaks to the courage that I'm speaking. I didn't go there, but that speaks to the kind of courage that it's going to take. You spoke of other communities. Dubai came to mind in terms of, having a smaller population and having to import people to have to do, to perform certain responsibilities.
Fiji?
Yeah.
But the military took care of that.
Yes.
But
they made sure that didn't happen.
Let us not forget, too, in all of these societies in Dubai, the citizens of Dubai are in control of the land of Dubai.
Yeah. That's the other thing we talked about during the break in terms of, people pooling resources, buying the land and so on. And again, unless you're going to invite, people who are thinking about these things, Anyway.
Okay, let's take our last commercial break. I believe we do have a caller as well, Miss Susan. We will take that caller. That will be the last caller as soon as we return. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Hey, new drivers. Don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Ash Wednesday is more than a holiday, it's a tradition. Reconnect with Cayman's roots at the annual Agriculture Show on Wednesday, February 18th in Lower Valley. It's a full day celebrating our land, our culture, and our community, hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society and the Ministry of Agriculture. Follow Cayman Agriculture on social media for updates.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before we go to our caller, one of our listeners has sort of like chimed in on the question about immigration. This person says that the Immigration Act will not achieve the demands of the people as virtually everybody has been grandfathered in. B, many of the things that need to be done, example, work preferences for Caymanians, do not need legislation, but resolute policies and practices. C, there is a lack of ideological direction from leaders, as Dr. Roy points out in his recent book. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, morning to my three favorite Caymanians there.
Morning.
This Elvis McKeever. I'm reporting on behalf of CBNN. That is Cayman Black Nigger News. Right. Yeah, CBNN. Raw, real, and relevant. So, now we talking about our history month. Well, Miss Theresa, I was talking about you this morning, Father. I know you and my grandmother is relative because she was the Anderson too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard Larissa and them say that. Yeah.
Yeah, Grace Anderson.
Yeah.
So now we want to find out. The gentleman asked why we're in this position today. Caymanians put us right where we are because we get to the position now thinking that we don't need each other, which is a lie. We all need money, but we need each other. Now, when we will never get out of the position that we are in until you get leaders like me that call a spade, because when you get elected members that we just went through a referendum and 10,385 people voted for decriminalizing of marijuana, and now it's been almost a year, and you can push it down a year longer about law reform commission, then you got come in consultation or whatever. That is blatant disrespect for the people that elected you. And I am telling the premier, and I told him, listen, the premier only got 300 more votes than me now. I don't think he got that much. I got 107 votes. And I campaigned for ganja, farming, and teachers, and liberty for my people. So when you neglect that voting block of people, partner, the world is looking at us. Well, if the politician can do them that, we can do them anything. Lord help us all and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. I'll give you all an opportunity to respond, and I'll just include this one in it. This person says, good morning. We can't forget or ignore the fact that blood is thicker than water. We have Caymanians that still belong to their foreign nationalities, still put those first. It's very easy to hear and see where their hearts belong. Thank you. They are very loyal to their parents' nationalities. Okay, Ms. T, 10 minutes left, and you can direct the rest of it. And tell us when, where the next discussion that we have, where it will take us.
I will ping you on that. Mm-hmm. But I'll just borrow a quote that Roy shared with us in making my final statement. And I revert to the whole thing about Caymanians having that choice. This is Chinua Achebe, things fall apart. Until the lions have their historians, tales of the hunt shall always glorify the hunter. Mm-hmm. So what Achebe said was, until the lions have their historians, tales of the hunt shall always glorify the hunter. And that's a metaphorical way of describing how dominant groups inscribe power through historical narrative. Mm-hmm. And for me, reading was what I had a curiosity about reading, and that in my mind was my path to dignity. It really, really, really was. And I'd like to share that with the Caymanian community. You know, we have to become a more literate community, and I'm not sure what that's going to take, but we have to start somewhere. And that's my call, and I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Roy and Dr. Steve and then to OC.
Well, I will give the iconic Dr. McField the final say, so I'll chime in here. One of the most telling things that I have discovered during my years of political campaign is the absence of any kind of books in the majority of the Caymanians' home. Mm-hmm. Now, I grew up as a poor boy with a hard, struggling mother. But my mother made sure there was ample, adequate, sensible reading material. And I from the beginning, I had a thirst for knowledge. And Theresa talked about all the authors, all the black authors. I went through that. I went through most books of the Western canon. That's how I developed my ideas, so that by the time I went to university and had a liberal education, I understood what I had to do. I have an obligation. I have a love for this Caymanian society and a love for its people. I could have expatriated myself. I could have stayed in Canada and had the good life. But I came back here because I wanted to make a contribution. And I, like the doc and many other people, got vilified. And I'm in my 8th decade now. God grant me the privilege to continue because my message will be the same. And I'm the kind of evangelist, if there is one in my congregation, I will preach. And if there's 1,000, I'll preach the same message.
Oh.
Well, we, Mr. For the Record, have allowed our people to actually fall down into the same trap that slavery brought us. The trap of poverty, cruelty, indifference. And what I see now is everybody is in the same boat. I wrote a piece many years ago for one of the media houses here saying we're all in the same boat and we all have to paddle to save our canoe from going ashore. And the feedback I got from some of those people who are not Caymanian saying, I'm not in the same boat with him, I'm not in the same boat with you. And I stopped writing. We also have to make fundamental strategic population adjustments if we are to continue to achieve and maintain this tremendous little society that we built over the many years. Remember, we're one of the only societies that we built on our own without any help from outside. We never got any money from Great Britain.
Right.
They never gave us anything. Everything that they loaned us, we had to pay it back. I think the last thing they loaned us was money to do the airport.
That's right.
In 1952, and we had to pay them back that money. But what we have today now is that we have other people who have come here, and unfortunately, we've had some of the weakest people representing us over the years. I wouldn't say today, but over the years, we have some of the weakest people who represent us over the years. And that growth that we had, that pride that we had, the pride to be a Caymanian. I remember stepping off, going on a ferry from Norfolk, Virginia to Baltimore before the Chesapeake Bridge was built. You had to get on the bus, got onto the ferry. I'm taking the bus from Miami to New York. And standing by the window to get food. And they pull the window down, close the window, and I'm standing by myself. And I'm wondering, why am I standing here by myself? And a guy came over and says, "You're the damn wrong side of the ferry, boy." I said, "What you say, sir?" You said this. You're on the white people's side. The colored people's side are over here. So I went over to that side and I got my corned beef sandwich and my Coke. And I was saying to myself, he doesn't know that I'm Steve McField. I'm Lemuel McField, grandson from Cayman. He doesn't know that. And I had my grandfather's emblem badge for the yacht club on my jacket. And I was saying, that man's a fool. He doesn't know who I am. The pride that we had, that dignity that we had, that we carried so elegantly all over the world. I wanted to raise the whole episode of The Lost Horizon this morning, but I didn't have a chance to do that. When Lord Mountbatten's yacht had to be taken back to England from Jamaica. Yeah. And the Jamaica Board of Trade, which is the Jamaica Harbour Master, recommended a Caymanian crew. Captain Tom Diaz, My grandfather, Lee Godfrey, and some other people with just their initials, EE bikes and JE bikes and whatnot, but 7 of them sailed that ship up to England. And just as they got in the Bay of Biscay, down the south of London, 2 o'clock in the morning, the ship caught a fire. They were all saved. That story is in the New York Times, in the Baltimore Sun, and in the Jamaica Gleaner. At night, on the 8th, that the ship caught a fire on the 8th of May, 1938, and the SOS went out, and the report came out on the 9th of May. Not a thing about it in the archives here. That's the dignity that Caymanians had, that they could be recommended to sail a ship that belonged to the royal family people all the way up there. And today, to see how they have beaten us back, they have pushed us back into the swamp, they have pushed us back into history, they have pushed us back into anti-slavery, into slavery, and they have pushed us back into poverty. And I see Caymanians now with their hands out,
right,
for food and shelter.
Yep.
Yep. And when Dr. Theresa Pitcairn and Dr. Roy Bodden and myself was offering them a hands up,
they rejected it.
And that's, I feel so uncomfortable having to come to talk about that today on the radio.
So one of our listeners said, it's such a great delight and pleasure to have 4 generational Caymanian families having such an important dialogue in and about our beloved Cayman. The Boddens, Andersons, McFields and Connors. It's always a great privilege to listen to Radio Cayman. Thank you all. Thanks to all these individuals and Radio Cayman's management and staff for always bringing our country the important things that matter, being in our past history or future, being it our past history or future. Thank you. And that's coming from Mr. Curtis Powell. So, folks, I want to leave you with this because it's very important. And I'd never heard about this until Mr. Roy Bodden, Dr. Roy Bodden mentioned it this morning, the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave, right? So here is what it said. It said, the black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male. The young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have all your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. My question this morning is, are we still in that position?
Yes. And that's
the challenge.
Are we still in that position
today?
We are.
That is the challenge. And to your point, maybe we continue to have these conversations, at least to engage the community, to start to talk about it. Mm-hmm. This is less to do with race in my mind and more to do with where we are as a community and how we're going to extricate ourselves from this particular situation.
Exactly.
And because there ain't no soldiers coming around to come and save people and that now opens another conversation when you look at the composition of our RCIP. People don't want to talk about it, but I'm saying we need to have some come to Jesus moments where we start talking about the truth and our reality and how we're going to move forward as a community.
Okay, I'm going to just share one more, if I may, Miss Susan, one more comment came in on WhatsApp. It says, we can't forget, says, thank you so much. When you hear where their hearts are, wait on when the election time comes around. Mr. Connor, you're very humble and intelligent. Thanks for your continued contribution. I didn't mean to read that about me, but they're certainly very thankful for this conversation and the knowledge and insight that our panelists has brought to this conversation as well. Everyone is really so commending of you this morning, and we hope that we can have more of these conversations as well. We have to have them. We have to put it out there in the public domain. No one is trying to overthrow anything. We're just trying to free you from that mental slavery that we have. And when we look at the year 1712, and we consider that here we are in the year 2026, and we find ourselves in similar positions, something has got to be wrong. I want to thank all of those who contributed this morning. Thank our panelists as well. Don't forget, we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to whoever charge it, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Don't forget to join Mr. Charles Glidden Shallow at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.